What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday to everyone. Happy St. Patrick's Day to those who celebrate. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy, and having a great day so far. If you had to take a COVID test, flu test, or a test for some other virus, I hope you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long-term and no long COVID issues. It is time now for the Monday edition of the Virus Update for Monday, St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2025. If you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where I do the daily virus update on all those viruses that can make us sick. Let's face it, there's a lot of different viruses out there. You need to know what's going on with them. No one wants to get sick, do you? I know I don't want to get sick. I did get sick back during the winter wave of viruses when it was at its peak, well, the first peak, and it was COVID for me. And guess what? You just need to know what's going on with these viruses. If you are in the know, it will help keep you safe and prepared for what is going on. The best way to stay in the know with what's going on with these viruses is subscribe down below, give this video a thumbs up, hit that notification bell, share this video with anyone you know, and leave your comments down below. Hey, the more people that hit that like button, the more YouTube's going to help push this content out throughout the algorithm. Already on this St. Patrick's Day, you may notice here, I'm dressed in green today. We do have a few news stories. We have some data. We're also going to take a look at some new Walgreens data. That includes COVID, and we'll take a look at the flu today as well. And we also have some other stuff that we're going to look at today. I don't think this is going to be as long of a video, but hey, we'll just see what happens. Let's just roll with it. BNO News did provide us their weekly update. U.S. COVID update with COVID cases and everything else. The COVID cases, new cases, 150,071. New admissions actually went up by 2% for COVID. 10,505 in the hospital, down by 5%. 8,978 in the ICU, 1,335. That's down by 2%. New deaths, 705. The average is 787. That is down by 7%. So far this year, nearly 2 million COVID cases have been reported in the U.S., causing 139,050 hospitalizations and 9,258 deaths. So, yeah, COVID, it's still a thing. The deaths for this year are on the rise at the moment. Now, moving on to Michigan, where we still have some problems going on in Michigan. And it says here, this is the headline. They put it in bold print. They make it look very scary looking, but let's be honest. It's not a good thing. Alert! Severe illness in Michigan leaves more kids hospitalized. Well, what could that be? It's actually a combination of illnesses. According to the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, hospitals are seeing more residents with upper respiratory illnesses, such as RSV, and record-breaking cases of whooping cough and walking pneumonia. Health officials report one highly contagious illness leaves more infants and children on respirators and has turned deadly. According to the Centers for Disease Control, seasonal flu activity remains elevated in the U.S. U.S. health officials in Michigan tell M Live that more Michigan kids are coming into the hospitals sicker, needing help breathing. Wow, this is not good. And may have co-infections. In addition to the flu, they're fighting other infections from viruses like RSV, COVID-19, and strep. While most people recover from the flu, influenza, and its complications can be deadly. So, yes, things are still bad in the state of Michigan. They're still bad in a lot of states, but that article definitely caught my eye. Weekly influenza and COVID-19 case numbers dropped significantly. This go-around, we're in Montana. Yes, Montana numbers are starting to drop at this time, which is a good thing. The latest report released Friday indicates a decrease from 1,467 influenza cases recorded the week ended March 1st to 945 cases recorded the week ended in March 8th. Hospitalizations also decreased from 100 patients to 48 patients in the same time frame, and no new deaths were reported. COVID-19 cases also declined from 250 to 130 in the same time frame. Hospitalizations increased slightly from 12 to 16 patients. RSV positivity rate also climbed up to 14.82, up from 12.75. So I thought it was interesting to share that. I don't think we shared that the other day. I honestly don't remember. In Houston, health officials confirm third measles case. It's an unvaccinated infant's illness linked to international travel once again. Yep. So, yes, another case there. And I think overall Texas is going to give an update tomorrow. All right. Have you been able to keep up with the bird flu? Yes, there's a lot of different bird flu out there. H5N1's been the one that's been talked about the most, but get this. U.S. reports first outbreak of deadly H7N9 bird flu since 2017. Yes, if you're keeping score, there's a lot of different H-type viruses out there when it comes to bird flu. The United States reported the first outbreak of the deadly H7N9 bird flu on a poultry farm since 2017. As the country continues to grapple with another bird flu strain that has infected humans and caused egg prices to hit record highs. So, yes, this is something that continues to be a major problem. And it looks like this time it was in Mississippi that this outbreak was found. All right, moving on, taking a look now at the website. It's datareport.info. If you want to find anything, sometimes I do post threads of the stories that we use here. I haven't done it lately. Eventually, maybe I'll get back to doing that. And we do have several tracking threads. We do have a measles tracking thread. We have sports illness tracking thread. We have performers sick. We track all kinds of things on here. And I do need to take a look at this. And it says here, I don't know if I had talked about this yesterday, but a guy from North Carolina posted on my site. Texas measles outbreak spills into third state as cases reach 258. 2 cases in Oklahoma. Oklahoma says the cases don't pose a public health threat risk. Okay, so we did, I believe, mention that last week. All right, moving on. The viral activity level for COVID-19 in Canada is moderate, flu A is moderate, flu B is moderate, and RSV is high. The reason why we looked at that measles tracking thread, because I had just noticed that that post was made, and I thought, oh, maybe there's something new that I did not have queued up for today. That does happen sometimes. Taking a look at what's going on with air qualities today, and I suspect we're not going to see things bad. You and I are both seeing this at the same time. Yeah, air qualities are pretty good. There's a few bad sites here in the Northeast. I wouldn't pay much attention to that. Could be maybe a house fire or something triggering that to go on in local, maybe some local circumstances. But it seems like Oregon or Southern Oregon and California seems to be about the worst state today. A lot of green on this map. That is a good thing. Let's see what's going on with this. And we can actually say that severe weather for today, take a look at this. We're not concerned about it today. Unlike what was happening over the weekend. But going back for a second, there are some extreme fire conditions that you need to be aware of in Texas and in New Mexico. Yes, I'm just noticing this. And if fires do occur, you know what that means. Some bad air qualities will pop up in those areas. And if the winds are right, well, that will spread more northeast. Take a look at this. Pollen levels. The map is better than what it was, but we're starting to see things in the southwest and the mid-south pick up the pace here, especially in the southwest. Texas is not as red as it was, but there's still a lot of red going on, so pollen levels, they're still a concern. Still some oranges along the east coast, so still some moderate pollen levels there as well, and that in Texas is high pollen levels. Taking a look at what's going on in Pinellas County, Florida, we do see a few sick person calls, and we also see a few falls at this time. Taking a look at Philadelphia, we do have an update here. On Friday, there were 801 EMS incidents. I don't know why I was about to read the fire incidents, but 801 EMS incidents. 778 EMS incidents were reported on Saturday. And let's see if we have the Sunday update yet. Here we go. 776 EMS incidents on Sunday. Any day below 800 is not as bad. That's good to see that. Taking a look at what's going on in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania, and we see currently 19 calls, 4 of them. I was about to say 3 of them, but 4 of them are respiratory emergency, cardiac emergency showing up several times. And I hope we see some good news in Chester County, because Chester County was absolutely crazy with sick person and respiratory calls earlier. Still a couple now, nothing like it was earlier. There were like 8 total earlier, which is, yeah, that's just not a good thing whatsoever. Taking a look at what's going on in Pennsylvania today, and I do need to refresh this. We can see here west of Harrisburg, or southwest, UPMC, Carlisle is having some issues. Reading, there's a hospital having issues. Penn State, St. Joseph's Health, Behavioral Health Diversion. Some hospitals having issues in the Lehigh Valley, Lehighton, Pennsylvania, the Poconos, and not as bad in southeast Pennsylvania today. And I'm still seeing green listed for the 2 hospitals in Chester, Pennsylvania area. That means they're still open. I hope they're still open. And remember, they were expected to potentially close. Let's see what's going on in New Jersey. Cooper University Hospital is having some problems. Yeah, there's a few hospitals having problems here today. Hey, look at that. We don't see Princeton Hospital listed today. That is a good thing. All right, drum roll, please. Let's take a look at the new data from Walgreens, and we can see the national positivity rate. It did go up. It's up by 0.5% to 13.7%. Prior week was 13.2%, but there's a reason for it. Testing continues to drop. Total test, 4,840. The prior week was 5,642. The green you see on the map, those are states where positivity rate is going down. That's good news. Red, it's going up. Could be because of testing. Could be because of cases. Orange is going up slightly. Lighter green is dropping just a little bit. And states that are pretty much white are not updating. Sometimes you'll get one that's almost white, and there is something there. But most of the time, white states just have no data from Walgreens. Maybe no one got tested in that state, or they're just not reporting on it. Let's start in the Northwest first, shall we? And take a look at this. In Washington, the state of Washington, the positivity rate for COVID was 16.9%. Prior week was just 4.5%. That went up by 12.5%. They do tend to have a lot of up-down movements, and take a look at this. Testing went down. 59 versus 67, but you know, that drop in testing, is it enough to justify the fact that it went up 12.5%? I don't know, so that's something we'll have to keep an eye on. California, 11.7% positivity rate this week. The prior week was 8.5%. Difference of up 3.1%. Total test, 137 versus 164. Yeah, testing's down, so we will talk about that being the issue there. In New Mexico, the positivity rate is 12.2%. The prior week is 9.7%. That's up by 12.5%. Total test, 41 versus 31. Drop in testing. And I am seeing green in Arizona. That's a good thing. The positivity rate is 14.9%. The prior week is 15.9%. A difference of down 1%. Total test, 94 versus 113. Real quickly, going back to the national level. Someone's probably about to say, oh, for 13.7% is much higher than the CDC. This is not the CDC. This is strictly data from Walgreens testing. Anyone who went to get a test at Walgreens, it usually gets added into this unless a state did not report for whatever reason. Maybe it'd be too low of cases or too low of tests being done, whatever the case may be. In Kansas, we are seeing things rise. 17.1% positivity rate versus 8.9%. Again, another state that has a lot of big changes from week to week. It never used to be that way, but that's the way it is there now. Up by 8.2%. Testing, 35 versus 56. Yeah, testing did drop. Texas, 12.4% positivity rate. The prior week was 11.7%. That's up by 0.7%. Total test did drop. 872 versus 1,030. So, yeah, you saw a pretty big testing drop. Georgia, 14.9%. That's down big by 8% from 22.9%. And testing drop. You know what does that mean? That means your cases are likely dropping. North Carolina, seeing some red here. What's going on? 16.3% positivity rate this week, up by 4.1% from 12.1% last week. Total test, 301 versus 321. I'm seeing bright red in Ohio. That's never a good thing. 12.9% positivity rate this week, 10.1% last week. That's up by 2.8%. Total test, 132 versus 139. That's likely due to the decrease in testing for the rise there. Now, New Jersey, I can't say the same for that. Take a look at this. 21.3% positivity rate. The prior week was 11.4%. That's up by 9.9%. 169 tests versus 176. A rise that big? Yeah, there may be a mixture of things going on there. And one of them may be cases. I'm seeing little old Rhode Island having a rise in cases as well. What's going on there? You don't do a lot of testing, but This is a big rise. Again, another state that makes big changes from time to time, but this one's particularly big considering you are overall dropping. 18.2% positivity rate versus 8%. That's up by 10.2%. Testing, 22 versus 25. I think that I'm going to go with you're probably seeing the decrease in testing, but maybe some cases going up as well. New York State, 20.5% positivity rate versus 22.4%. A difference of down by 1.9% total test, 205 versus 223. Alrighty, moving on now to the next part of Walgreens. Let's take a look at flu. Last week, we did that on a different day. Let's do it today. National flu A and flu B positivity trend, 3.68%, and total test, 4,954. The darker the blues you see on this map, the higher the positivity rate. So we are seeing several places here with higher positivity rates. Take a look at this. Influenza A-B in Idaho is 10%. Then when we take a look at Kansas, 8.57%, just 35 tests done there. West Virginia, 8.33%. Florida, 3.96%. New York State, 3.17%. California, 6.57% still. That's pretty high. Washington, 6.78%. And Texas, 3.21%. And Illinois, 4.47%. We'll take a look at some more of these states again tomorrow. All right, let's take a look at what is going on with wastewater scan, if we can. Looks like it may have froze up on me. And if that's the case, I have to refresh this here. No, we don't want to see Boston. I think we looked at Boston yesterday, didn't we? Let's go out to the West Coast. Let's do a couple places on the West Coast. And I want to know what's going on in San Francisco. I think we're going to do both wastewater sites in San Francisco. We can see here, COVID in San Francisco is in medium. It's dropping slightly. RSV is in the high. Influenza A is still high. It was dropping. Now it's leveled off a little bit. Influenza B is high and dropping. HMPV is dropping. EVD68 is low at this time. Norovirus is high and holding steady. And everything else is fine at this time. That's 250,000 population. Let's go over to the bigger wastewater site just to the east, where COVID was rising slightly. Now it's leveled off slightly, and it is low at this time. RSV is still high. Influenza A is high but dropping. Influenza B is high and rising slightly. HMPV dropping somewhat. EVD68 is low. Norovirus is still high but dropping. And everything else is fine. However, some detections of hepatitis A and one Mpox detection at this time. Now let's go over to Las Vegas and see what's going on in Viva Las Vegas. And there we do note that COVID is low at this time. RSV is high, and it's even rising slightly. Influenza A is still high but dropping. Influenza B, very slowly dropping, still listed high. And everything else is fine. Few detections of hepatitis A, but that goes back pretty far, all the way back into January. Norovirus is still high at this time. Now let's go somewhere on the East Coast. And let's see, where do we want to go there? How about we go down to North Carolina? Because I don't think we did North Carolina yesterday. Let's go down to Wilson, North Carolina. And at this wastewater site, 50,000 population. COVID is medium, and it's actually rising slightly. RSV is high but dropping. Influenza A is high and dropping. Influenza B is low. HMPV is low. EVD68 is low. We do see norovirus here, still listed in the high category. And yeah, it's been going back up slightly once again. That is not a good thing. New York State. Let's take a look at what the latest numbers are there. Not sure why I have to refresh it, but I do. 995 new cases added there. Taking a look at what's going on. Yeah, we need to refresh the hospitalizations as well. Weird that it blanked out on us. The hospitalizations, 720 and 65 in the ICU. That number is continuing to drop. We'll have to see what happens tomorrow. Let's take a look at what's going on in New York City. Yeah, New York City ended the week last week up a little bit again. Looks like they have 325 hospitalizations and 33 people in the ICU. Looks like both of those numbers up ever so slightly. All right, let's take a look at emergency department visits for people diagnosed with COVID here in the United States. We're going to run through all the states listed. Then that's going to be it for today's update. Nationally, overall, we are still dropping. Alabama at this time, rising ever so slightly. Alaska is holding steady. Arizona is dropping. Arkansas may be starting to drop. California is holding flat and dropping slightly at this time. Colorado is dropping. Connecticut at this time is dropping. Then we come to Delaware, which looks like it's leveled off or maybe dropping slightly at this time. Alrighty, folks, let's pause for 1 second. Let's do the hydration break before I forget, because I almost forgot about it yet again. And it's very important to keep yourself hydrated. So let's all together take a hydration break right now. Drink of choice today is water. Alrighty, continuing on. District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. is dropping at this time for COVID hospitalization. You know, people who show up at the emergency department visits. That's what this is. Diagnosed with COVID. Florida was dropping. Now it's leveling off slightly. It's not really dropping much more at the moment. Part of that slowing off of the drop could be spring break. Hopefully we don't see it rise. At the moment, it's not. Georgia was dropping. Maybe a slight rise at the end. Guam up ever so slightly. Not terribly concerned. Hawaii is still dropping. Idaho is dropping. Illinois is dropping. Indiana, your drop has slowed. Iowa is dropping. Kansas, Kentucky, dropping. Louisiana, take a look at this. Yes, you're starting to rise again. Overall, you have never seen a big drop yet. So, it's just a combination of things. You had the Super Bowl, you had Mardi Gras, you had the winter surge, and now it is spring break. Is going to New Orleans or going to Louisiana the thing at spring break? Could be. I honestly do not know. I can't answer that. Maine is dropping at this time. Maryland is dropping slightly. Massachusetts is dropping. Michigan is dropping. Mississippi is rising slightly. Montana is dropping. Nebraska, flat at this time. Nevada dropping slightly. New Hampshire is dropping. Slight rise in New Jersey. New Mexico is dropping. New York is dropping slightly. Slight rise in North Carolina. North Dakota is holding flat at this time. Ohio, yeah, you've slowed off. Your drop has slowed. We'll have to keep our eyes on that. And I do recall when we took a look at Ohio's data last week that the drop was not as big. Oregon is still dropping, but starting to slow off. Pennsylvania is slowing off a little bit. Rhode Island, you're actually starting to rise a little bit. South Carolina has been rising a bit. Hopefully that's starting to slow off now. South Dakota is still dropping. Tennessee is dropping. Texas leveled off a little bit. Utah has rose a little bit. Vermont holding steady. Virginia holding steady. Washington still dropping. West Virginia dropping slightly. Wisconsin dropping. And Wyoming just does not report. And I believe we did not talk about Missouri. There may be a couple other states as well that are just not included in this. Alrighty, folks, that does it for the Monday edition of the Virus Update. If you enjoyed this update, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down below. Hit that notification bell. Share this video with anyone you know. And leave your comments down below. I will see you all again next time, which will be tomorrow. Until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone, and have a fantastic Monday afternoon. Thanks for watching.